In my worst to best list, I have already covered the holy trinity of slasher villains, but I've never gone in depth with them. Well, I aim to correct that tonight. Tonight I go back to one of my oldest videos, and I bring you A Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes, the movie where when you die in your sleep, you die in real life.
When you poop in your dreams, you poop for real.
A Nightmare on Elm Street was brought to us by horror legend Wes Craven as he wrote and directed the first one. The idea for A Nightmare on Elm Street came to him from an article he read in the LA Times, where it talked about Asian refugees escaping horrible places and having such terrible nightmares that they refused to sleep. But when they did finally sleep, they never woke again. He also used a lot of his own personal dreams and also an incident with a homeless man that scared him for life. That would eventually become the base grounds for Freddy Krueger. Wes Craven set to work on this new horror icon that he hoped would help bring him out of his current slump. He brought around his script to many different studios, all of which passed. Although Disney did have an interest in it if he were to tone it down and make it more kid-friendly. There is another alternate universe where there's a Disney version of Nightmare on Elm Street where Freddy's claws sing a duet with him. Eventually, Wes Craven struck a deal with New Underground Studio, New Line Cinemas. The Nightmare on Elm Street franchise was such a big deal to them that they refer to themselves as the house that Freddy built. Welcome to prime time, bitch! Wes Craven wanted to go with a lot of unknowns for his movie to make it a little bit more realistic and down to earth. He went with Heather Langenkamp to play Nancy and a baby Johnny Depp to play Glenn.
Can you listen to television and hear your records at the same time?
Oh, I wasn't listening to the tube, Ma. Just watching. Miss Nude America's gonna be on tonight.
Well, how can you hear what she's going to say?
Who cares what she says?
Oh my god, baby Johnny Depp is so cute. It almost makes you forget that 30 years later he becomes a terrible person. And he also got unknown at the time, but soon to discover his true calling, Robert Englund to fill the role of Freddy Krueger. And in November 9th, 1984, we were given A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh God, I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself a king of infinite space.
The movie begins with Tina having a scary dream and awakened to find that her nightgown has been ripped. She shares this dream with her friends who also admit to having similar dreams. Tina's friends decide to have a sleepover to help her forget about her terrible nightmares. But the worst nightmare was yet to come. She's attacked once again by Freddy, and her boyfriend Rod can do nothing but watch her get torn apart. Since no one else was in the room, Rod is suspected of the murder. And then the focus of the movie switches to young Nancy, as she starts also beginning to have nightmares about Freddy Krueger.
Who are you?
In one of these dreams, she sees her friend Rod in his jail cell being hung by Freddy, and they find that he is dead in real life. Nancy soon realizes that it is all tied together and there is meaning behind these dreams. Nancy is taken to an institute to study her dreams, where she finds out she can pull items from her dreams, where she pulls out Freddy Krueger's hat. This is where Nancy's mom tells her the story of Freddy Krueger, that he was a child murderer who got away with it because of a court technicality. And so the parents of Elm Street took matters into their own hands and killed Freddy. So he vowed revenge on them to get them where they cannot protect them in their dreams. And I mean, like, in their dreams, not like in your dreams, but like in your dreams. You get what I'm saying. You get it. Nancy comes up with a plan that she will bring Freddy into the real world and set a bunch of traps to destroy him. Nancy does seemingly destroy Freddy, as we're left with a happy ending. Or are we? Fun little note, the original ending just called for Nancy to just hop on the school bus and go into the distance. But the producers wanted to tease a sequel, as it was a slasher movie, of course. Which ending is better? That's for you to decide. A Nightmare on Elm Street made $25.5 million on only $1.8 million budget, and critics praised it as a invigoration to the fledgling slasher genre. It was something new and invented, brought it to this genre that seemed to have been beaten to death. In later years, Empire would name it 162nd of the 500 greatest movies of all time. I would agree with them, although I'd probably put it a little higher if you ask me. It is a classic slasher movie, but with a crazy twist. The dreamscapes and the dark atmosphere lead to making this a creepy stalker movie. I think it's the best use of dreams out of any of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, as later the dreams become these giant set pieces with crazy amounts of effects. This one kept it more simple and real, to where you didn't know if you were dreaming or in the real world. And the seamlessly switching between sets and dreams and reality makes this movie that keeps you on edge and creepy. And let's not forget some amazing special effects that took entire sets to set up. The use of Freddy in this movie is also amazing, as he is kept mostly in the dark. You don't really see his full outline, and he doesn't talk as much as he would in other later Nightmare movies. And I feel the less use of Freddy was the better choice, to keep him this dark, mysterious, creepy creature that stalks you in your nightmares.
Watch this.
Of course, since Nightmare on Elm Street was a slasher franchise, it had many, many sequels. It was followed up a year later with Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, and that Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, the Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, and finally, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Of course, Wes Craven was never satisfied with any of the sequels, and especially with the ending of Freddy. So he returned for another Nightmare movie, bringing us Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Freddy then reappeared in Freddy vs. Jason. Also, there was a 1988 TV show known as Freddy's Nightmares that ran for 2 seasons. It was an anthology horror series that seemed to have some pretty good moments. In 2010, Nightmare on Elm Street was remade with Jackie Earle Haley taking the reins as Freddy Krueger, which I think he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. He is a very creepy Freddy Krueger, and I stand by that.
Did you know that after the heart stops beating, the brain keeps functioning for well over 7 minutes? We got 6 more minutes to play.
Don't at me, bro. In 2015, New Line Cinema said they were in talks to bring Freddy back in another remake. So not continuing the old franchise or the remake franchise, but remaking it once again. Although 3 years have passed and we have not heard any words since. Will Freddy ever return? Only time will tell. In the end, Nightmare on Elm Street is one of the classic slasher movies and definitely makes Freddy part of the amazing slasher villain pantheon. It's still creepy and interesting, and the dark, moody atmosphere only leads it to be darker and creepier and even more scary, and it even holds up to today. So if you haven't seen it yet, I suggest you check out A Nightmare on Elm Street. But don't fall asleep afterwards. Now if you'll excuse me. Huh? What? What a weird dream.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of Macabre Movie Mania. What'd you think of Nightmare on Elm Street? What's your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street sequel? Let me know in those comments below. Hit that thumbs up and share this video with all your horror friends. And remember, I do votes on my next episode of Macabre Movie Mania, so make sure you follow me at wizard_Matt on Twitter to make sure you get your voice heard. And if you're not too busy, check out one of these 2 other videos. They are also very awesome. Thanks again for joining me.